All right. Here's a way of thinking about the Oedipal phase. It's basically hostility and erotic attraction towards the parents. Now, Freud thought about this as a normative part of development. And that's a tough one. It certainly does seem to be the case, and there is some experimental evidence, that boys fight more with their fathers and girls fight more with their mothers. So that's kind of interesting. But I'm not so sure that the idea that this is normative development is exactly right. And maybe Freud got skewed over a bit because he was always dealing with people who had one form of pathology or another. Now, here's how to develop an Oedipal situation, if you want to, with your children. Some of you will take this road, so maybe this will help you do it better if that's really what you're into. So the thing to do is make sure that your marriage is quite hostile, so that you have a lot of underlying resentment to your partner. And that will encourage you to subtly turn one of your children, or more of them, against that parent without them really knowing it. And you can do that by covertly reinforcing them when they do that, or ignoring them, that's even better, when they do the opposite. So, you know, maybe your daughter is being nice to your husband, you're really mad at him, so that you make it known to her using one strategy or another that you don't really approve of that sort of behavior. So that's a pretty effective way of doing it. Then the next thing to do is, this works really well if you have a young boy and you're a woman. It's like, you know, you want to develop a lot of hostility towards your husband, so you really don't want to have anything to do with him, and you don't really want him to even touch you, and because of that, you're not even really all that happy about men. And so then you do two things, is that you turn to your son, because he's kind of harmless, and you make your relationship way closer than it should be with him, and you encourage all sorts of things that are really kind of on the edge of acceptable behavior, and at the same time, you repress and crush any part of him that would develop in the kind of masculinity that would enable him to turn into the kind of monster that you think your husband is. So that's really effective, and people can do that for like 20 years, and the outcome is that I have a lot of business as a therapist, because I do see this sort of thing, and a lot of what happens in therapy is that it's an interesting thing, is people come to see me to solve all sorts of problems, like of a very large number of sorts. But one of the common problems is they cannot get away from their families. They can't break those initial, isn't even break them. The family can't negotiate a way to allow the person to manifest the independence that would be necessary for them to have their own life and their own family and their own career. And so they're struggling, and they're caught in these often ugly nets, like often unbelievably ugly nets, and they can't get out of them. And that's what we're going to see right now.